Well, welcome back here. I'm Anxious Cynic, joined again by Bean Dream for another wallpaper competition review.
Yep.
So, Bean, go ahead and take us to our submissions.
Well, first of all, the theme
Oh, yeah.
is if Minecraft only had 3 colors. So first off, we have one by Archer Legacy.
Oh, I was
this one-
trying to read that as archaeology. Okay.
This one does not have 3 colors. It has 1 color, but okay.
It's got like a lot of shades to it, but it's technically one
Yeah.
of maybe 2 colors if you count like the black and then the light greens. It definitely
Oh,
stays
that
within the
was-
confines of the theme, though. I feel like the character posing is a bit odd.
Steve, it's okay, but Alex, it looks a little...
It looks like she's doing a hoedown.
just notice there's an enderman way up here in the corner,
Is it?
stealing the end crystal.
Oh,
What
wow.
it
Nice
is.
little touch there. You can actually see it here in the Minecraft version. The one thing I would say about the chosen aesthetic here is it doesn't really stand out to me. It's like it looks kind of like a night vision shot, which maybe that was the goal here. But it doesn't really stand out as like, oh, look at that kind of artful image. It's just,
Yeah.
it looks like a night vision shot out of Minecraft. It would work much better, I think, in an animated form rather than as a wallpaper. And also there's a bit too much
And,
room in the foreground here. Everything is kind of up in the upper 2/3 and it's kind of an odd composition.
We have one from BrickABag with a big old check mark for some reason. This one I quite like how it is all the same shade of color, so it's flat.
This one definitely exemplifies the theme. It's interesting, like the shape of things. It almost looks like he drew this rather than took it out of Minimator or something.
I wonder if this isn't just drawn.
Something that is interesting about the composition of this one is that the background characters are bigger than the foreground character. So the only thing with this one in regards to the theme is like obviously he nailed it with the 3 colors aspect, but if you saw this out of context, I don't know if you would really know what it is. Honestly, it's kind of weird, but if the foreground was removed, it would work better as just like a standalone image, because you could kind of gather that it's something from Minecraft and kind of artistic representation.
Here we have one by looneytune.
This is an interesting concept, abstract composition and using the colors in 2 different ways.
Yeah, I do feel like the borders could be more interesting.
What would improve this one, because it's so bare bones. Like if we're discounting black as a color, if you had a 3rd color, for instance, say if you did like the Ender Dragon, and the Ender Dragon would be behind them and kind of encompass the whole image, so it would overlap with the 2 background panels on both sides and kind of tie everything up into one solid composed image of 3 colors.
It's not really anything that can be said on lighting because
There's not a whole lot to critique here, so based on what's presented besides my initial suggestion is the character poses are a bit boring. Like you don't have much going on here, so just having characters seeming to be like mid-stride of a walk, maybe posing with weapons or doing something a bit more meaningful, something that you could register in an image like this that, you know, is what's happening. Chungus thinks getting over it is good, so he's been going on in the Discord about getting over it for no reason whatsoever, and anyone who wants to bully him for that, I will not ban you for doing so.
Yeah, and the name's getting a little out of hand.
You normally get this kind of 2-dimensional thinking, or at least I do when I'm making things. So the idea that you have this character in the foreground who's actually like white like the rest of the scenery is interesting to me.
Yeah, honestly, every time I look at it, I forget he's there, and then when I pay more attention, I'm like, oh, there's somebody there.
It's a weird little subtle thing, but it adds like some dimension to it. It's not like, oh, the background or the scenery is one color and the characters are another color. It actually seems as though there's more complexity to the meaning behind how the colors were used. Now, I don't understand why 2 characters are waving at each other while this other guy's about to get murdered when they're all blue, so I assume they're on his team. I guess maybe that's Chungus.
Yeah, I think it's cool. It feels a little bit mysterious, but the poses and everything kind of take away from the mysteriousness of it, because they're doing obvious things.
Yeah.
I feel like if you couldn't tell what they were doing as well, it would be more interesting.
The 2 characters waving at each other, if they were in a bit more of like combative positions, it would make more sense. at least in terms of like what's taking focus here is the character that's being held up by the sword and overwatched by the guy with the bow. So pretty much everything to the right of that seems out of place, I guess.
This one we have by Toriel. That's how you pronounce it?
Torio?
Every time I say it different.
Something that this one makes stand out to me is I'm noticing this kind of weird issue, I guess, that's kind of unique to this theme, maybe due to the color of the scenery typically being so muted, is the composition is always strange to me. Like, again, we have this kind of foreground element in the lower third that's very barren. It's an interesting side effect of using limited colors, is it actually seems to upset the composition a bit, unless it's just literally in perfect composition.
I do like the lighting in this one, and the particles are pretty cool.
I do like this one. I feel like it still kind of runs into that problem of, again, maybe it's just because of the limited colors, but the action of the scene here is kind of boring. Like, it's a cool concept with the guy running with his dog, and again, maybe it works better in an actual just normal Minecraft scene, but with this, I feel like there needs to be a little bit more to it.
I agree, and I feel like the background color is out of place. I feel like it should have been a cooler color instead of a warm color. I also think you should have like a third color.
Particularly on this left side, I think, where there's nothing going on besides the background scenery. Introducing a third color there would have enhanced it, again, because it would also give the character some kind of purpose. If something more interesting was there, I think it would have helped in a few different ways to include something on the left side there.
Here we have one by Arlen.
No, I really like the take on this one with the three colors, in that it seems that rather than it being strictly solid colors, it almost looks like rim lighting. So it's like the colors are sort of being implied as coming from lighting rather than just solid, like 2D image, just painted, I guess.
Yeah, the only thing is the dragon is kind of hard to see its size, or else it's just a really small dragon. But I feel like it should be bigger, and instead of focusing on the fire breathing, you should focus more on the size of the dragon.
Yeah, that's a tricky one with this one due to the composition. The field of view on the camera could have potentially helped if you, like, I don't know what it was set to, but if you zoom in with it, like a more telephoto look, you can emphasize the dragon a bit more while maintaining the composition that you want. The particles coming out of the dragon's mouth look a bit fluffy, for lack of a better word. It doesn't look exactly like directed fire breathing. It looks a bit more like he has some kind of flowery object in front of him.
He's spitting out flowers, that's all.
Flower breathing dragon. There we go. Flower breathing dragon. We've invented a new character here.
Next up we have one by enderman.
This one seems to employ more than three colors, though. I mean, I know a lot of them with shading and whatnot are kind of teetering on that, but in terms of primary colors, I'm seeing a number of different hues here.
Yeah, the mountains keep getting a different shade as they go back. I feel like they probably should have just stayed the same.
I think one thing he did here with this one, though, is with regards to the previous ones in my critique, is he has a relatively benign pose. Like, it's just, I guess, Steve with his pickaxe, and he's mid-stride or something, and he's looking over at the sunset. So it's like there's not much of an actiony pose here, but due to the composition of the image with the sunset and the mountains, and presumably that's a lake or ocean, it works. Like, I don't think that there needed to be a different pose to make this one work better.
Yeah, the view in the background is kind of the main focus, with Steve being the secondary focus.
I guess that's another interesting side effect of this theme, is that it's encouraged people to branch out beyond just strictly Minimator to make their images, so that's kind of cool.
We have one by A.L.R.A. allnightmare. Quite the name. Right off the start, the first thing I noticed is that the torch isn't bright and is not giving off any light.
Yeah, no lighting coming off the torch. Is that supposed to be a lapis item or something there? And it's huge.
This one, in regards to the colors, it is not really three colors. Everything's kind of blue, has blue lighting, and then has a pink character, but like the stone is gray, and then you have water, and then the diamonds and stuff.
The first thing that strikes me about this one, though, is the pose of the character. It almost looks like they're bending backwards in an odd way. And I don't think they actually are, but it's something to do with the legs.
Oh. Wait, which way is he facing?
It looks like the left leg is turned like 90 degrees and bent.
That is what looks like's happening.
So, like, due to the lighting, it looks like his leg is bending backwards almost. It's like a grasshopper Steve or something.
And I'm also not sure what he's looking at.
It's an interesting concept, but again, it's like, I don't know, maybe it's this 3-color thing, even though this one kind of didn't follow that strictly. It seems to require more action in the scene in order to sell the image. And this one, even though it does have some things going on, it is implied that Steve was mining, even though his leg's broken. But the lack of substance, like there needs to be more going on in the scene, I think, to sell this image, because as it is, it just looks kind of randomly thrown together.
Like rather than it's telling a story, the story's already ended and you don't know what happened.
Yeah, it's like we miss what we should have seen. So after much deliberation, some bottles were breaking, tables were overturned, we finally came to a consensus about the winner and the runners-up for this competition.
So in first place, we have Marilyn. Honestly, probably the most exciting looking.
It pulls us in. It uses the limited colors. Like, it may embellish a bit, but overall, I think the theme comes through strong enough, and the way it was used is really well where it deserves the win here. So, like, second and third place were very contentious. This was a difficult one due to everybody kind of having something but lacking something. So we had a hard time coming up with second and third here. So we landed on a second place, but it's a bit of a controversial pick.
So in second place, we have enderman, which has a bit more than 3 colors.
Yeah, so this one we definitely believe earned second place, but the reason it's controversial is because it seems he went over with the colors.
Third place is, we decided to go with Chungus thinks getting over it is good.
Now this one is very similar to Turio's.
The same like atmosphere.
Yeah, it's the same concept basically, but due to the addition of like action, character, more consistency with the colors, we had to give this one to Chungus.
Honorable mention to toriel and BrickABag.
Yeah, BrickABag gets an honorable mention, even though he's the one that came up with the theme, and his probably one of the few that really stuck to the theme. The reason we felt like this one maybe didn't make it to the top 3, it's like, again, it's good that he went with the 3-color theme and stuck to it so well, but it makes it so bare that it just doesn't seem to contend with some of the other submissions. Something we wanted to do that we thought would be kind of cool is getting whoever won the last competition and picked the current theme to tell us what their favorite submission was. And due to poor planning, we haven't established that yet. So what we're going to do is get BrickABag's opinion, and we'll see, like, I'll implement in some way in this video what his pick was for his favorite submission for his theme. But with that, it looks like Erlen is gonna take it for this theme, and he will be the winner, and thus, what does he get to do, Bean?
He gets to pick the next theme for the competition and gets a special Discord role on the Discord server.
That is right.
And speaking of the Discord server, if you want to participate, you join the Discord, which is in the description.
It will be in the description.
If it's not, you'll be sure to hear about it. Even if it is, you'll be sure to hear about it.
So with that, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next wallpaper competition review.
Yep. Bye-bye.